Did Steve Harvey make Lori Harvey date Diddy? What's up with that?
Of course. Like, why is not nobody looking at Steve Harvey sideways, G? You let your daughter date the diddler? Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved and didn't happen. Which, and it's kind of weird. Like, the whole relationship with Justin looks weird. He looks like Mini-Me with Dr. Evil. It's a very, very, very weird relationship. And what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom. The same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth.
Hollywood's ultimate golden girl is watching her carefully engineered empire burn to the ground. And the catalyst is a leaked tape narrative that crosses every boundary of human decency. Jaguar Wright is back, and this time, she isn't just dropping cryptic hints. She's exposing a toxic, predatory family dynamic that goes infinitely deeper than anyone ever feared. For years, the industry watched Lori Harvey systematically cycle through high-profile elite men. But while the public blindly blamed Lori for the wreckage of her dating history, industry insiders whisper that she was never the one running the operation. It all points directly back to a sinister master plan orchestrated by her mother, Marjorie Harvey, who allegedly tried to force a disturbing threesome dynamic on Michael B. Jordan. The truth behind the leaked tape narratives is finally hitting the surface, and the dark reality of what happens behind closed doors is about to leave the entire industry completely speechless.
When I asked my inside sources, they informed me like, no, this was most likely probably an actual date, and they were probably caught by regular paparazzi. You're out, you're about, you got on your date heels, it's just them, they're laughing, they're smiling, and they look to be, a bit cozy, engaged with each other. Now, my sources also informed me, I'm going to say allegedly, but they informed me formally that Lori and Threesome were through, that they had broken up. And I'm like, wow, everybody's been talking about Lori Harvey ever since Michael B. Jordan won his Oscar. They've been like, dang, she fumbled, or just making comments about it. But recently, as of March, I do believe, early March, Threesome and Lori Harvey were spotted out together making out. Now, they were spotted together March 7th on the balcony kissing, and everybody was like, I don't buy it. There's no way that it's real, that you're just tonguing each other down in an open window like a movie scene. They were alleging that it was staged. In a kissing, a private moment with your lover like that, I don't see why you'd want the window open, so it might be staged.
And she didn't lie about the Michael B. Jordan part. If you track the timeline, the public was entirely blinded by the smoke and mirrors. When rumors exploded across social media claiming Lori tried to desperately crawl back to Michael after his massive career milestones, the media quickly brushed it off, labeling it the work of a parody account. But now, industry insiders are looking back at the wreckage and realizing the parody account was actually a cover for a terrifying truth. Think about the strategic timing. Just before everything fractured, Lori and Damson Idris had just pulled off a highly publicized, PDA-filled reconciliation after a brief split. Then, the moment Michael B. Jordan solidifies his alpha status in Hollywood, the narrative shifts, rumors of Lori trying to reconnect spark up, and suddenly, her relationship with Damson completely self-destructs. If what Jaguar Wright is exposing is true, Lori isn't the predator running through these men. She is the first casualty of an insatiable family matrix. Everything traces directly back to the dark past of Marjorie Harvey. The industry knows Marjorie's history is defined by survival, calculation, and manipulation, having methodically married her way into extreme luxury through 3 separate marriages, including 2 different underworld lords, before setting her sights on Steve Harvey. Insiders remember that the first time Marjorie met Steve, she discarded him instantly because he was completely broke. But the moment his name and wealth exploded, she slid back into his life, systematically stole him from his wife at the time, Mary, and completely brainwashed him. She didn't just force a divorce, she engineered an absolute legal gag order to guarantee Mary's eternal silence. And sources claim Marjorie Harvey has spent years drilling that exact same ruthless blueprint directly into Lori's head.
When I think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie, that was disturbing. He took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me, had me evicted from our house, thrown out. All the businesses, all the money, the cars. At a moment when I was down and devastated, he maneuvered everything. He manipulated the courts, everything again.
Marjorie Harvey allegedly hammered it into Lori's mind that her only pathway to permanent elite status was to lock down a high net worth billionaire. But it looks like the grand strategy completely backfired. Insiders say Lori's leverage in Hollywood is entirely dead because she has cycled through so many prominent industry figures that the top tier of eligible elite men now view her as radioactive cargo. That overwhelming panic is exactly why she is suddenly out here issuing aggressive legal threats to anyone speaking the truth. When the internet began connecting the dots about the horrific setup involving Michael B. Jordan, Lori completely broke her silence to launch a furious retaliation, warning the public that she is initiating massive lawsuits against those weaponizing her name for clickbait drama. But behind that fierce legal smokescreen lies absolute desperation. Lori isn't just spiraling over the fresh fallout from Dams and Idris. She is terrified because the industry is finally digging up the dark, covered-up timelines of her past. Look back at the deeply unsettling 2019 narrative when the media linked her directly to Sean Diddy Combs. While mainstream outlets covered it up as a standard high society rumor, the public remained convinced that something highly transactional was happening. The narrative turned completely toxic when independent investigators began tracking heavy speculation that Lori was simultaneously dealing with Diddy's own son, Justin Combs. Lori tried desperately to rewrite history during her public press runs, playing the quiet, hyper-private victim of wild internet fabrications. She laughed off the claims, insisting she opens her phone to find complex, deeply intimate relationship timelines mapped out with men she has never even met face-to-face. She flatly denied the sickening rumors of dating both a father and a son back-to-back, even throwing out claims that the media once tried to brand her a lesbian just to see what would stick. The public was almost ready to buy her innocent routine and blame the internet, until Jaguar Wright stepped directly into the arena. Jaguar Wright completely shattered Lori's defense with a devastating, explicit allegation, claiming Steve Harvey didn't just look the other way, but actively negotiated with Diddy to hand Lori over as part of a high-level industry transaction orchestrated straight out of the Harvey household. Interview 738-907. The public immediately fed into these horrific allegations because of Lori's exhausting, high-profile track record of cycling through Hollywood's elite. For years, mainstream media framed her lifestyle as a young, independent woman just having fun in the dating scene. But now, in light of Jaguar Wright's terrifying revelations, insiders believe there was a much more transactional, forced narrative driving her movements. Look back at the pattern where it all began. In 2016, she locked down Dutch footballer Memphis Depay, even securing a massive engagement ring. But the moment the deal was sealed, Memphis abruptly vanished and dumped her. Lori tried to clean up the PR wreckage years later in a 2022 sit-down with Bumble, claiming she almost walked down the aisle at an age where she didn't truly understand herself, her desires, or real-world experiences. But the timeline doesn't lie, and the escape pattern of these men speaks for itself. Immediately after Memphis fled the Matrix, Lori was pulled straight into another high-stakes, messy entanglement with Trey Songz. Once again, heavy industry whispers began circulating that the two were rushing toward a sudden marriage. The absolute panic behind the scenes became impossible to hide when Meek Mill exposed a major secret, revealing that Trey Songz had desperately reached out to him, begging and demanding that Meek completely scrub a specific lyric referencing Lori Harvey off his hit record, Going Bad, before it leaked to the world.
To Diddy.
Did Steve Harvey make Lori Harvey date Diddy? What's up with that?
Of course. And allegedly, Mary Harvey has said so. Steve Harvey also has a very inappropriate relationship with the diddler. And the truth is, a lot of these older men push their daughters to hook up with their celebrity friends so that they can keep the favor machine going. I just don't know with the way Diddy rock, like, how do you share with your daughter, you know? Like, they share that experience now? Well, what'd he do to you, baby? Like, what? Who introduced their daughter to that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even if it is your stepdaughter. Like, that's nobody's thinking about that. First, his fake son would Wolf tried her out. Made sure she was partyable. I guess he gave her that special pair of shoes. And then he turned her over to the devil. Like, why is not nobody looking at Steve Harvey sideways, G? You let your daughter date the diddler?
The industry's obsession with putting Lori Harvey on a wish list quickly transformed into a dark playground of public retaliation. She moved directly to the undisputed king of toxic narratives, Future, who allegedly drained hundreds of thousands of dollars showered upon her in high-end luxury assets. But the moment the contract expired, Future went completely scorched earth. The second news shattered the internet that she was moving on to Michael B. Jordan. Future retaliated aggressively on the track Magic City, throwing a direct, disrespectful warning shot to her family. Tell Steve Harvey I don't want her. But it was the raw, unedited verse leaking into the dark corners of the web that completely stripped the family's mask. Future brutally exposed the power dynamic, rapping that Lori had explicitly begged him on her knees not to abandon her, despite the excessive diamonds layered on her ankles. He openly taunted the household, declaring she had absolutely no choice but to settle for a downgrade after losing an alpha like him. Then came Michael B. Jordan, a man ready to offer her a traditional marriage, only for the relationship to violently fracture. While the media claimed Lori just wanted her freedom, Jaguar Wright's explosive revelation changes everything, exposing that Michael was forced out the exact moment he refused Marjorie Harvey's twisted, explicit threesome proposition. Now, Damson Idris joins the long list of escaped targets, fleeing the inner circle after seeing the terrifying reality of what happens behind closed doors. The public matrix is completely shattering, and the comment sections are filled with absolute horror. People are finally realizing why Steve Harvey's public, forced approval of Lori dealing with Diddy felt so entirely unnatural. No protective father accepts that dynamic unless his hands are completely tied by an industry transaction. Was Lori Harvey the ultimate predator playing the industry, or is she the ultimate asset trapped inside a sinister arrangement engineered by Marjorie Harvey? The alleged tapes are starting to surface, and the fallout will dismantle empires. Drop your theories in the comments below before the legal team scrub this entire video from the internet, and make sure to click right here to uncover the next dark layer of this Hollywood cover-up.
I took Lori Harvey off my wish list. That's a chicken chain one. I took Lori Harvey off my wish list. That's a chicken chain one for Christmas.